Good morning, Soul Tribe. Can you hear that engine? Just as I was about to start recording, Ed started Sarah's truck. Anyway, it's a busy Friday morning on our street. So I thought maybe I would try and document this. Maybe it'll help me to decipher things. So I don't know if I'm going to post them or not. They may just end up being for me, but if you're watching this, enjoy. Um, So I don't know where I just was, but again, I was somewhere that was it was a group of young people in their 20s and kind of like friends in a way, but not. Um and it was really interesting because wherever I was, whatever timeline I was at, um Barack Obama was there. And we were friends. But it was a young Barack Obama, and it was really kind of wild actually because um, I just remember that I think we had partied or something, and I just remember we all kind of were deciding what we were gonna do for the day or whatever, and somebody was like, "I want to go out for breakfast." I'm like, "Oh, I want to go out for breakfast." I'm like, "That sounds so good right now." And and as I started to go and get ready, I had this, I don't know, it's really hard to explain, but it was almost as if there was a tapestry with words written on it. And then Barack came over and he's like, "Don't obsess over it." And I looked down and I realized it had these moving pieces and it was my book. It was totally my book. And I was like, "Yeah," I'm like, "I don't know, I just keep moving things around." And I said, I'm having a block right now. I'm like, I just can't seem to write anything. And he just said in his awesome Barack way, he just goes, "You know what?" He's like, "Don't obsess about it." He's like, "What you have so far is so amazing." He's like, "We all believe in you." He's like, "You are going to get this." He's like, "Everything's going to be great." And he was just super, super supportive. It was just really wild. It was so real. But the only thing that sucks is after he walked away, I kind of looked back at it for a second and I had a oh shit, like a cool idea moment. And I remember thinking, after we come back from breakfast, I have to, do this. And then there was this love scene, and it was really, really cute. But they were my friends. It was Rachel Griffiths, if you know her, the actress, and it was a young her, which was even weirder. That's what I'm saying. It was I feel like I'm going places. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on in these different dimensions. But in this dimension, I was friends and roommates with Barack Obama, Rachel Griffiths. Nobody else seemed famous to me that I would know. Um, but it was very normal that we all lived together and we were friends and we help each other out. But anyway, she was in love with another guy friend of ours. They were in love with each other, but they just never said anything. And I was looking at my book and I just remember I looked out the window the way our house was, and I feel like we were in a city of some kind. But I just remember I looked out my window and he went outside to do something, or no, he wanted to kiss her, but he was scared to kiss her. And so he took her he took her outside to tell her something, and she was like, "Bah, bah, 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 bah," and she was talking, talking, talking. And he just swooped in and kissed her. And I just remember being like, "Attaboy, Tony," "Attaboy," Tony, whoever he is. And I just remember being like, "Finally." And she kissed him back. And I was like, "Oh, yay." I was like, "Oh, yay." And it was a cute story. And I'm like, "Where am I?" I'm like, and so I feel bits and pieces, bit by bit, I'm starting to break down and decipher, I don't know if it's different dimensions, past lives in different dimensions. I don't really know. Um, but I've been, from, you'll see, I don't know if I've posted it yet or if I'm gonna post it, but I did a reading and was talking about the sacred spiral. And I feel like I feel like that's my key right now. I haven't figured it out exactly right now, but it's my golden key, because what's happening with my book is it's just so fragile, and I don't want to rush it, but at the same time I'm changing. Like I can feel like so much around me is changing, and um it's almost like for my book to be in this other dimension was like really wild. Like it's obviously something I've been working on for a really long time, and I've been working on it in all these different places, and I think that's why I'm pausing so much, because that's why I keep doing these little diaries. Someday I think people are gonna be like, "Oh, dude, did you watch that? Like, she was talking about the book then." I'm just realizing how important it is, and how important it is to get it right and not rush it. Um, and it's so multi-layered, just like these dreams are, just like our worlds are. Start breaking down your paradigms, you guys. Like, start thinking about, like, before you go to sleep. Layla, one of my shamans, used to say this to me. Like, she's called Dream Lodge. The Native Americans, they call it Dream Lodge. I don't know if any other cultures call it that, but like thinking about like what you want to dream about. Like, what do you like? Is there something that's gnawing at you, an energy, an emotion, a memory? When I was going through my awakening, I was having these intense nightmares, and they were so real. And one of them, I knew with every fiber of my being, if this woman slit my throat like she was about to do, I knew I was going to die for real. I didn't know how to explain it any other way. Um, and I just remember screaming to God, and I was like, "Get me out of here, get me out of here, get me out of here." And I was like, and I saw myself going through this wormhole, and then like I like woke up in my house, and it was like dark, and I was like shaking, and I was like, "Holy fuck." I'm like, "Where was I? What just happened?" I almost died. Um and I've been possessed by demons. Like I've just had so many like crazy things happen to me, that I think there's a part of me that is like, I did so much self exploration with my soul and like with myself, like during that time, that I feel like, and I do so much work here, that I think that I started to like kind of close off my dreams and close off those adventures. Does that make sense? So that I can get some peace. Um, because I also had a vivid memory or I mean, I had a vivid dream one night, and I know I wasn't dreaming. I say dream, but experience where I was running through this field, and I remember I was just so happy. Like I was extremely like crazy happy. And I remember that I was like running through this field and these mountains, and the sun was shining, and I was like, "Oh." And then I just heard and this little noise, and I looked down, and it was a baba, and it was a baby baba, and she was running with me, and she was so fluffy, and she was so cute. And I was like, "Oh my gosh," it was so real. And we were playing together in this like field, this like beautiful place. And I started to realize, like, not only could I create my own dreams and my own adventures in my dreams, but like I could also go back in time. And um I had one where I remember like my dad was by this window, and he was smoking, and I didn't understand what was happening. And then I looked over, and I saw my mom sitting on the floor crying, and they were so young. And I was like, "Oh my God." And then it occurred to me that we were in our first house that we ever lived in, and my mom was crying, and they had just gotten in a huge fight, and it was really sad. Like the whole thing was like really sad, and I realized that I was looking at my parents in their real time, and that I'd astral traveled. Um, and so when I started doing all these different things, you know, I at first it was exciting, and I would talk about it, but then I kind of stopped talking about it, because some of my friends and some of my clients were starting to get kind of upset, because they'd be like, "I can't do that," or "I don't know how to do that," or "How do you do that?" Or I'd be talking about one of my experiences, and I would see how upset it would get other people. So I just kind of stopped talking about it. And it was kind of like just mine. I give so much of myself that I was like, it was kind of like my own thing. But now I'm feeling like I need to start journaling it again. And clearly something has opened up, and it just opened up since the new moon. Um, it's a lot of experiences. And I'm just going to say this because there's no way to prove it, but so we found some mushrooms in our backyard. I'm just going to say that. Ed's been studying mushrooms. And we had quite an experience on the new moon. So just gonna leave it at that. And ever since then, just so much shit has happened, and it's been a week, and every night I've had these. It's like it's getting more intense and it's getting more real, for me. So I don't know. It's just really, really interesting. Sorry, I'm like my arm's getting tired. I have to rest my arm. Um, yeah. So I'll keep you guys posted on, you know, I'll I'll keep you posted, and we'll see what comes through. But it was so cool. It was like Barack was just trying to tell me, like, don't worry, your book's there, like you're gonna get it. um and it's interesting because I like the base of the story, but there's just this part that's coming up that's so, I it happened to me, and I don't know how to put it into words just yet. And also, even though it happened to me, I for the character, I want it to be their own experience, like her, she goes by her. I want it to be her own experience, like I don't want it just to be mine, because there's parts of her story that I don't know about yet because I'm writing it, you know? Some of it's real and some of it's all real, obviously, but some of it is like it's just, I've just never done this before. And so, journaling it like this way, like talking about it's really helping me, because I just feel like if I if I can, maybe if I talk about this stuff, maybe if I get it out, one, it'll help you too to like maybe figure out your stuff. But also just to help me sort out the story. I mean, I remember looking at it and I remember Brock going, like, it's okay. Like, you're gonna, it was the way he said it, and it was the way he had so much confidence that he was like, it's gonna be so amazing. He's like, you don't even know. And I was like, I know. So anyway, so getting back to my shaman Layla, she used to say, before you go to sleep, you know, talk to spirit and say, in Dream Lodge tonight, I want to accomplish X, Y, and Z. You know, in Dream Lodge tonight, I want to fly. Or in Dream Lodge tonight, I want to work out that dispute with so and so. So, so I can be better, so I could do it in a loving, healthy way so that when it happens, I can challenge that energy properly. Whatever. Like, it could be anything. If you want to astral travel, say, I want to safely, and use your words like that. Like, I want to, safely astral travel, but be divinely protected, you know, because when you start astral traveling, you got to be prepared for a lot of things. I mean, I didn't realize that I was astral traveling so much, that the demons were taking over my body and I couldn't get back in. Like, I had a really hard time getting back in a few times, and I had to call on like archangels and like God, goddess, whatever. Like, I had to call on like the higher forces to help get these demons out of my body, because I didn't really know then that I could do it. But like, I was so, because they had me afraid, they want you to be afraid. So they had me think that I couldn't do it. But um, anyway, and I just heard, yeah, exactly. So like, if for some reason you astral travel and you get back to your body and you can't move and you can't scream, but you're awake, that means there's an entity that took over your body. Sometimes it's not even a demon. Sometimes it's just something that's like, oh, cool, I want to be human for a second. And if you're like, whoa, get out of my body, they'll be like, oh, okay, sorry, but if it's a demon, you say, get the fuck out of my body. This is my body. You're not allowed to be here. Um, they're not allowed to do that. But usually when I astral travel before I go to sleep, I sleep with certain crystals and stones. Definitely my labradorite, jet, like all my protective stones. And then, like love and healing stones, like, because most negative energies don't want the good vibrations. So you want to put as much like high vibe, good vibrations around your bed, rose quartz, things like that, amethyst, and a bloodstone. I find it really important to have a bloodstone like in your hand while you're going to sleep, because it kind of keeps your body like kind of healthy too. Anyway, I'm rambling about nothing, and like I said, I don't even know if I'm going to post this. It's really, I needed a journal for myself. I need to journal certain things so that I can figure this shit out. Because I think part of my blockage is that I need to set my soul free. I need to go get some new weed too. I got some really good calming weed and weed to like help me like clean and do stuff around the house and be present. But like I need some like take me out of my head into super land weed. You know, like to like fun places, like where I went last Saturday. Wink, wink. Okay. All right, you guys, have a blessed day. I'll talk to you soon. Dream, dream, dream. Document your dreams. All right. Bye. Aho.